We all cherish the comforting belief that laws exist to protect us and ensure justice prevails. But what happens when a case shakes that belief to its core? An American man's case took a harrowing turn, leaving justice teetering on a delicate edge. Convicted and ultimately executed for the tragic murder of 3 innocent children. His case would later ignite a firestorm of controversy. This is the sad story of Cameron Todd Willingham and the chilling fate that befell him.
And there are 2 parents who want this Christmas to go away.
My little girl was crying, "Daddy, Daddy." When I woke up, the whole house was in smoke.
In Corsicana, Texas, tragedy struck on December 23, 1991, when a fire engulfed the family home of Cameron Todd Willingham. The devastating blaze claimed the lives of Willingham's 3 young daughters, Amber Louise Kirkendall, a 2-year-old, and 1-year-old twins, Carmen Diane Willingham and Cameron Marie Willingham. Miraculously, Willingham managed to escape the inferno with only minor burns. At the time of the fire incident, his wife, Stacy Kirkendall, the mother of their 3 daughters, was away shopping for Christmas presents at a thrift shop. The aftermath of this horrific event took a startling turn when prosecutors accused Willingham of intentionally starting the fire and murdering his children. They alleged that he committed these heinous acts to conceal his abusive treatment of his children and his wife. However, no concrete evidence of child abuse emerged as the investigation unfolded. Stacy Kirkendall, standing in defense of her husband, strongly denied any knowledge or experience of child abuse within their family. She described their children as loved and spoiled, and stressed that Willingham would never harm them. Interestingly, during the accusations against Willingham, Kirkendall revealed that she had been an abuse victim within their relationship. This revelation added a complex layer to the story, raising questions about the dynamics within the family and the truth behind their troubled marriage. The case became a battleground, with conflicting narratives and emotions running high. The prosecution argued that Willingham intentionally started the fire to hide his abusive behavior, painting a chilling picture of a man capable of such monstrous acts. However, the absence of substantial evidence and Kirkendall's defense of her husband cast doubt on the validity of the allegations.
And he had no burns on his feet, but we could see where there was burns in the hallway. And we can't figure out how he got out without burning his feet.
Once the flames had subsided, the investigators took charge and began to piece together the puzzle left behind. They uncovered some intriguing evidence that pointed towards the use of a liquid accelerant to spark the fire. They discovered peculiar char patterns on the floor, forming what looked like puddles of destruction. It seemed as if multiple points had been ignited deliberately, fueling the flames to burn fiercely and rapidly. It was like adding gasoline to a bonfire. But that's not all. The investigators stumbled upon another fascinating clue. They noticed charring beneath the aluminum front door jamb, which raised their eyebrows in suspicion. It seemed to indicate the presence of a liquid accelerant being used to ignite the fire at the entrance. And guess what? When they put their detective skills to the test and ran some tests in that very spot, it came back positive. There were several other twists and turns in this case as well. Let's talk about the fishy witnesses. The case took a peculiar turn as witnesses stepped forward with their accounts, adding layers of intrigue to the already complex story. One of the key witnesses was Johnny Webb, a fellow inmate who claimed that Willingham confessed to him about setting the fire. However, Webb's credibility came under fire due to various reasons. Webb later admitted that his memory might have been clouded by the medications he was taking for bipolar disorder. What do you think about this revelation? Could Webb's testimony be reliable, or influenced by his condition? But he wasn't the only witness in this case. Psychiatrist James Grigson, known for his controversial expert witness testimonies, labeled Willingham as an extremely severe sociopath, and deemed him incurable. Grigson's credibility was later questioned, and he faced expulsion from professional psychiatric organizations due to unethical conduct. How much weight should be given to Grigson's diagnosis? Can we trust his assessment? Besides these fishy witnesses, there were other oddities as well. Interestingly, the case was full of strange occurrences and behaviors that fueled speculation. One of them was Willingham's conduct at the scene.
2 or 3 of the girls went out on the back patio and come running in the house and said, "Mama, I think Sheila's house is on fire."
As the fire blazed through his home, Willingham exhibited a mix of emotions. He alternated between shouting for help and calmly moving his car away from the flames. Some witnesses observed him displaying both collected and hysterical behavior. What do you think of this contrast in his actions? Was it a sign of guilt, or simply the panicked response of a desperate father?
Firefighters tried to save 2-year-old Amber, but she died shortly after reaching the hospital. Her sisters, Carmen and Cameron, were also dead.
Eyewitnesses also described Willingham's physical condition after the fire, with singed hair and smoke-blackened hands. However, the absence of smoke inhalation raised doubts. Additionally, neighbors claimed they urged him to rescue his children, but he refused. Instead, he preferred moving his car away from the fire. How do you interpret these conflicting accounts? Did Willingham's actions align with those of an innocent parent, or raise suspicions? In the aftermath of the devastating fire, Willingham's actions were a bit weird. When he returned to the scene with family and friends, his demeanor seemed oddly cheerful. However, this mood quickly turned somber as soon as the authorities arrived. The sudden shift in behavior puzzled many. What could explain this strange change in attitude? Was it a sign of guilt, or simply a misunderstood response to grief? During the visit to the fire-ravaged home, Willingham appeared visibly upset when he couldn't find a dart set. Surprisingly, he promptly ordered a replacement without any concern for the cost. This unexpected reaction left people wondering. It seemed as if this trivial matter held more significance. Could it be a clue to his state of mind? As we dig deeper into the Willingham case, we encounter an intricate web of witnesses and enigmatic behaviors. The question remains, do these testimonies and oddities offer insight into the truth, or further cloud the already murky waters surrounding the tragedy? While you think about it, subscribe to our channel to dive into the fascinating world of complex investigations and mysteries. The motive presented by the prosecution in the Willingham case was that he wanted to get rid of his unwanted children. They claimed he had tried to abort his wife's pregnancies and had physically abused his wife and children. However, there was no solid evidence to support these claims, and witnesses, including his wife, denied them. In 1992, Willingham stood before a jury accused of the heinous crime of filicide. The prosecution painted a picture of a cold-hearted father who callously set the fire that took his daughter's lives. During the trial, it was alleged that Willingham set fire to cover up an injury or death caused by his wife. The prosecution also portrayed him as a serial abuser and sociopath. However, the defense argued that the evidence against Willingham was based on flawed science and unreliable witnesses. At the trial, the fire investigator testified that the fire was intentionally set by a human, and samples indicated the presence of an accelerant. However, later investigations and advancements in fire science questioned the validity of the arson evidence. Fire investigators concluded that there was no scientific evidence of arson. The condition of the house and Willingham's burns were also used as evidence against him, but experts provided alternative explanations for these observations. People not associated with the case, such as his former probation officer and a former judge who had interacted with him, described a different person than what the prosecution said. They saw him as polite and caring, and they couldn't imagine him harming his children.
They offered him a deal: confess and avoid the death penalty. His court-appointed attorney urged him to take the plea.
Willingham maintained his innocence throughout the process and spent years appealing his conviction. Despite efforts to present new evidence and experts challenging the arson investigation, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals denied his appeal. Todd Willingham was sentenced to death on August 22, 1992. Prior to his untimely death, Willingham chose a feast consisting of tater tots, ribs, enchiladas, onion rings, and 2 slices of pie. It was a final indulgence, a poignant reminder of his humanity before he was tragically put to death. Do you think the last meal concept is justified? On February 17, 2004, at the age of 36, Willingham was executed by lethal injection at the Huntsville unit in Texas. The legacy of Cameron Todd Willingham's execution raises significant concerns about the flaws in our justice system. The case challenges the reliability of forensic science, the importance of thorough investigations, and the irreversible consequences of capital punishment. It is a contentious issue, and opinions differ on whether justice was served, or if an innocent man was wrongfully executed. What are your thoughts on capital punishment? Share them in the comments. It's a wrap for today.